Today we're going to show you the top 5 best plank modifications and progressions. What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. It's Blake Bowman here with GuerrillaZen Fitness. I'm joined by my friend Brian from Critical Bench today. Check out their channel if you haven't seen it yet. They upload all sorts of videos on everything pretty much strength training related. Lots of glute stuff, lots of core stuff, lots of different functional exercises. It's good stuff. They've been uploading videos for a very long time. They're kind of OGs in the space. And I'm here in Florida, hanging out, enjoying the Florida sunshine, and basically collaborating with Brian here today. And what we're going to be showing you, like I said earlier, is the top 5 best modifications and progressions for just the standard plank, okay? And I always say in my videos, you're never too advanced for a plank. And we talked about this, I think, in one of your videos. A lot of people consider the plank a very basic exercise, like a novice, rudimentary exercise. And the fact of the matter is, it's just not. There are endless ways that you can progress it, and there are endless, ways where you can intensify the exercise, squeeze the muscles that you're contracting harder, and therefore derive more benefit from it. So if you're just doing plank and you're kind of, half-assing it, and you're not really squeezing hard, and you're not focusing on the contraction, or you're just doing a standard plank, then yeah, that is going to be novice, depending on your fitness level. But there are a lot of ways that you can modify it and progress it to make it more challenging, and that's what Brian's going to be showing you today here.
Cool. So, Blake, thanks for getting me on your channel. It's such a privilege. And
thanks for having me here, man.
Yeah, this is awesome. So, like you just said, you couldn't have said it any better. The plank is one of those iconic core exercises. Everybody uses the plank in some fashion, whether you're the most advanced athlete or just starting out. The plank is a great exercise to use. We've actually made some videos on our channel saying don't do the plank if. So there are a lot of issues that people have currently going into the plank, where the plank is not the best exercise for all different types of individuals. It's not just something that you could throw to everybody and they get it perfectly. There are key components of that exercise that you have to do it perfectly in order to get the most out of the exercise. Don't use the plank as a rest. I hate when people do that, like, oh, let's do some burpees, let's do some deadlifts, and then we're gonna rest with the plank. It's like, really? Yeah. So you just lowered the level of effectiveness of the plank. I think the plank is one of the best core exercises if done correctly.
Me too.
Yeah, so without further ado, modifications, progressions, let's start with a kneeling plank. Let's get the foundation set. So, and Blake, please correct me, jump in, and throw in some verbal cues. Let's make this a tag team event. So the plank, obviously, elbow plank, elbows directly under the shoulders. I'm going to start from a kneeling position. This is what you want to start with before you progress into the traditional full plank. So right here is pretty much, that's it. That's the elbow plank. So anything that you want to...
Yeah, so, what you want to be focusing on, spinal neutrality. You don't want your hips, you don't want to be in an anterior tilted position with too much curvature. You don't want your hips back. You don't want your hips sagging down way lower than your shoulders like this. You want them more or less kind of close to the height of the shoulders, a neutral spine. And again, you're not just hanging out in this position, you're squeezing the core and maybe even getting a little bit of glute squeeze as well in this position. And you're making it harder than it would be to just hang out in this position and hold yourself there. Yeah. But other than that, that's what you're focusing on.
Yeah, I mean, I can stay like this all day, but once you engage the glutes, engage the core, and draw your elbows in, I'm shaking already, activating those muscles.
You intentionally want to make this challenging for yourself by squeezing harder than necessary just to hold yourself up there.
Now, another modification or progression, it depends how your shoulders are. You can go into a high plank position from a kneeling position. So this would be kind of like the starting point from a kneeling push-up, right there. Yeah, it's kind of easy for me, but you might be at the level where this is a challenging exercise, because eventually we're going to go to a high plank position where you're on your hands and feet, and that is definitely a lot more challenging. So you're progressing your way to move into that position. So again, tuck your tailbone underneath you just a little bit, engage the core, and you're pushing, or more so pulling the hands down towards the feet. You're trying to really squeeze your stomach.
It's as though you're doing this motion.
Yes.
With not allowing that motion to occur. So it's like you're pulling your hand down to your knee and your knee up to your hand, and you're really going to feel that activating, your core a lot more,
You might not see it, but I am doing exactly what you just said.
Yep. You're not going to be able to see it visually like you said, but he's definitely doing it. You can tell by his shaking.
Yeah, little muscle quivers in there.
Yep.
And then your traditional plank right here. Now to intensify this, I want you to talk again on how to bridge that gap. Like squeeze as hard as you can, because I can't talk and do it at the same time. It is that difficult to do.
Yeah, so just like we talked about earlier, what Brian's doing right now is he's pulling the elbows down like this and simultaneously trying to pull the toes up towards the elbows. If he was able to move, that's what it would look like, but he's not able to move because the ground's actually blocking it. And you can see just by his, strenuous face there and that big vein popping out of his neck that this is a high intensity exercise. And this comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. You're going to get out of plank what you put into plank, right? The benefits that you're going to reap on the back end are going to come down to what you put into it on the front end, right? If you're just hanging out, holding yourself up, you're texting on your phone, checking the clock, and you're not contracting that hard, you're gonna be able to hold the plank for like forever, right? And then you're gonna think that the plank is an easy exercise. You could probably only hold that squeezing at maximal contraction for how long?
I don't know, probably 30 seconds.
Max?
At best, yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna be wiped after that 30 seconds.
That's why I had him jump in and talk, because it is an extremely challenging exercise once you start doing that max contraction. So with that full plank, you can elongate your stance. I mean, I could even go out further here.
Yep.
And still put that downward pressure. But the thing with that, you have a tendency to drop those hips just naturally. So you want to make sure you're really focusing on keeping your hips up. So you're here, because the further you go, you're almost going into a hollow body where you're able to get those glutes engaged. And now apply that downward force.
You can make this even harder too by coming up on the hands while you're in that position and then alternating.
Yeah, so let's show the high plank and then show that progression.
Sure.
Because that was my next move. So now you've mastered the elbow plank. Now you're going into that high plank. Hands directly under the shoulders, feet hip width apart. The wider you go, this is also considered like a spider plank.
Oh yeah.
The further out you go,
oh yeah.
Now you're doing like the wall hanging plank.
Yeah, that's super challenging what you're doing right now. Not a lot of people don't have this. A lot of people don't have the strength to do that one. That one's that's a very intense progression right there.
That's why I'm not talking.
Yeah. Yep.
But at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're activating all the right muscles in the right position. Again, don't use the plank as just the basic resting exercise. Make the most out of it and really put your mind to the muscle and think, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Even though when you think you're squeezing, squeeze a little harder. And that's the benefit of having somebody look at you and watch you and say, hey, you need to squeeze a little harder. Get those hips up. You got to get your body in that right position in order for the body to be able to squeeze hard. Because if your hips are not in the right position, you can't squeeze your glutes. If your core is not in the right position, you can't squeeze your core.
Exactly.
So I think that was 5. There's a bunch in there.
Yeah.
And now there's many other exercises plank related. You can do a buzzsaw plank, integrate some movement, stuff like this.
Yep. And that high plank too, you can modify that actually and do it on your elbows and come up from here to here. Just kind of do this.
Yeah.
There's a million ways you can modify this. All of the principles are the same. You want to maintain that neutral spine, keep the core contracted, and really focus on squeezing the core, right? You're not just, like we have been saying all throughout this video, you're not just hanging out in that position. You're putting a lot of effort and intensity into the exercise while you're doing it and while you're maintaining proper posture and spinal neutrality. So to do that, you're going to get a lot of value from your planking session time.
Yeah, and one last thing before I wanted to share is that if you're experiencing any type of pain, like just abnormal pain where you're like, this really hurts my back or my neck or my shoulders, then you might need to stop what you're doing, assess the issue, then figure out where the missing link is, or maybe work with a trained professional to really figure out why you're getting those issues, because you could be in the perfect position but experiencing some extreme, numbness or a lack of sensation in a particular muscle, like a pinched nerve or something. Then you have an underlying issue. You might need to get your spine adjusted, or you might need to get
Your muscle imbalance is assessed. Get your joint mobility, your flexibility looked at, your postural alignment, all the things that you guys are familiar with if you follow me on YouTube here. Yeah, I agree 100% on that.
So that's it. A lot of different planks. Have fun doing it, but again, put the effort into it, make it count, and just stick with it and keep moving towards the next one.
Really hope that you enjoyed today's video, you guys. If you did, then you're gonna love my free 3-day functional training split, okay? There's a link for that in the description down below, as well as a link in the comments section there. Basically, click that, it'll take you over to my website. Once you get there, I'll ask you for your email. You put in your email, you'll get this copy of my workout plan, which is designed to essentially get your body stronger and leaner while bulletproofing it, making it more resilient to injury. So you're gonna be working on your posture, your muscular imbalances, your joint mobility, and your flexibility there. It's a great workout plan. There's a link to it in the description down below, so make sure you check that out. And lastly, make sure you check out Brian's channel, Critical Bench, okay? Like I said earlier, they upload tons of stuff about strength training, glute exercises, more stuff like what we showed here today. They've been at it for a very long time. They have a giant catalog of videos, so make sure you go check them out as well. If you're looking for another place to get my workout plan that's going to help you get leaner and stronger while fixing your muscle imbalances and your posture, you can click this link up here somewhere. Just click that, it'll take you over to my website, and we'll take care of you over there. If you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, click this button over here. And if you want to see another video similar to this one, then click this link down here. That's it for today. We'll see you next time.